Chlorine demand is defined in a practical sense as the inability to maintain a chlorine residual in a pool or spa, even after repeated application of chlorinating product. It is one of the most frustrating problems that a pool owner can experience, as continued application of product seems to make no difference in water quality or in the ability to maintain a sanitizer residual. BioGuard is proud to offer the patented Accu Demand 30 test station. This test station will accurately diagnose your chlorine demand in just 30 minutes and will give you the amount of product needed to reestablish a chlorine residual. Let's walk through the procedure. The first step is to fill the warming vessel with water. Tap water is fine, but in hard water areas, you may want to choose to use distilled water to keep calcium from building up on the inside of the warming vessel. Plug the warming vessel into a standard outlet and allow about 1 hour for the water to reach the right temperature. The next step is to prepare the dosing solution. The dosing solution has a high level of chlorine that will be added to each water sample. Fill the vial marked with a D to the 25 milliliter mark with deionized or distilled water. It is important to use deionized or distilled water and not tap water for this step. Place the water in the warming vessel for about 20 to 30 minutes to warm the water. This will make it easier for the dosing reagent to dissolve. Then open one packet of dosing reagent and apply it to the warm water. Invert a few times to ensure that the dosing reagent is completely dissolved. Be sure the dosing reagent is completely dissolved before beginning any testing. The next step is to run a control. A control is necessary to compare how many drops a sample with no chlorine demand would require. A control should be tested each time a new dosing solution is made. A fresh dosing solution should be made every day. Add distilled water to the 10 milliliter mark on the vial marked C. Then, using the syringe provided, add 0.5 milliliters of dosing solution. It is important to measure this accurately. Make sure there are no air bubbles in the syringe in order to get an accurate measurement. Cap the control vial and place in the warming vessel for 20 minutes. Then allow to cool at room temperature for 10 minutes. After the cooling time, add 1 potassium iodide powder pillow to the vial. Then add 1 citric acid powder pillow to the vial. Cap and swirl to mix. Please note that all of the powder may not dissolve. Then, using the sodium thiosulfate solution, titrate the control to clear. Add 1 drop at a time and swirl after each drop. Be sure to count the number of drops. Once the solution is clear, record the number of drops on the whiteboard. This number can be used until a new control is necessary. Again, a new control should be run every time a new dosing solution is created. Now we are ready to test a water sample. Add pool water from the sample being tested to the 10 milliliter mark on one of the test vials. Using the syringe, add 0.5 milliliters of dosing solution. Again, it is important to measure this accurately. Cap the sample vial and place in the warming vessel for 20 minutes. Then allow to cool at room temperature for 10 minutes. After the cooling time, add 1 potassium iodide powder pillow to the vial. Then add 1 citric acid powder pillow to the vial. Cap and swirl to mix. Again, all the powder may not dissolve. Now we are ready to titrate the sample with the sodium thiosulfate solution. Add 1 drop at a time and swirl after each drop until the sample turns clear. Be sure to count the number of drops. The number of drops used in the sample can then be compared to the number of drops used in the control. The easiest way to quantify chlorine demand is to add the number of drops into Alex and let the software do the work for you. To manually calculate the chlorine demand, take the number of drops for the control sample and the number of drops from the pool sample. Subtract to obtain the difference in drops. Multiply the difference in drops by 14.8 to determine the ppm of chlorine demand in the pool. Divide the ppm of chlorine demand by 7.8 to determine the pounds of burnout 3 needed per 8,500 gallons, or the pounds of burnout 35 needed per 6,000 gallons. Or again, simply enter the drops into Alex and have the software do the work for you. Being able to accurately diagnose the chlorine demand and make proper treatment recommendations will set BioGuard dealers apart from the rest, as well as provide the best possible customer service. Ultimately, customers will be able to troubleshoot their pool more effectively, clear their water more quickly, and enhance their poolside experience.